Sensational news. Trump worked for the Kremlin. Secret FBI documents have blown up the internet. People have been waiting for this for years. The secret is out. Is Trump a Kremlin agent or the victim of a conspiracy? So, was the then presidential candidate really a puppet of Moscow, or is this a dirty war waged by his enemies to destroy his career? Answers that will shake the world coming up next.
A sensational discovery in a secret room of the American FBI. The Bureau's director found secret documents related to the investigation of U.S. President Donald Trump's ties to Russia.
Patel discovered thousands of confidential documents about the investigation into Trump's connections with Russia in burn bags inside a secret FBI room. FBI Director Kash Patel handed the documents over to Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley.
The secret room is a restricted area for handling classified FBI information. Such rooms store documents containing classified materials, which are scheduled for destruction after a certain period of time.
In any case, could this information, could it have been used by intelligence agencies or participants in the political process as part of that same political process? Well, I wouldn't rule that out. But again, it's important to understand what's in those documents, because the concept of Trump's ties to Russia is very broad.
It's worth recalling here that in 2016, the Democratic Party's presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton, regularly accused Donald Trump of having ties to Moscow.
Trump's actions are not only unpatriotic, but also offensive to our citizens and our commander-in-chief. And that's frightening, because he intends to let Putin do whatever Putin wants.
A month earlier, the FBI director said on the podcast of popular American blogger Joe Rogan that even he didn't know what documents were kept in that room, and that it was up to FBI agents to find out what secrets were planned to be destroyed by fire.
When I first joined the Bureau, I discovered a room in the FBI headquarters building that former Bureau Chief Comey and others had kept hidden from the world. This room contains numerous documents and computer hard drives that no one had heard of before.
According to Fox News, among the documents was a secret appendix to the report by former special counsel John Durham, containing intelligence that the prosecutor examined as part of the Crossfire Hurricane case regarding Trump's ties to the Kremlin.
There are two possible scenarios. Either Trump will prove that it was a fake back then and deliver another serious blow to the Democrats, one from which they might not, not recover. Or on the contrary, the Democrats will pull out some secret documents from their reserves and use them to confirm that the information that was being spread back in, 2016, might actually be at least partially true. And such a scenario, against the backdrop of the conflict between Trump and Putin and the complicated relations between the US and Russia, could cause damage.
The pro-Republican camp is rejoicing, claiming that the documents found contain compromising information about the Democratic Party, specifically about a collusion between the Democrats and American intelligence agencies aimed at discrediting Trump ahead of the 2016 presidential election.
Ultimately, the publication of the classified annex will lend greater credibility to the claim that there was a coordinated plan within the US government, allegedly intended to help Clinton's campaign stir up controversy about Trump's ties to Russia, a source told Fox News Digital. This source, who was granted anonymity to discuss confidential intelligence matters that have not yet been made public, shared this information.
In parallel with processing the newly surfaced information, Patel's team is working on transferring documents and records to Congress, where they will be handed over to committees for their own investigations in accordance with their jurisdiction. If the data is confirmed, it will be a major blow to the American Democrats.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Urgent! The defense continues. The Ukrainian armed forces have wiped out assault troops in Chasiv Yar. Footage of the destruction has gone viral online. Taganrog is on fire. Explosions are shaking the city. This will bring Putin to his knees. The Pentagon is purchasing super weapons for Ukraine. Germany is providing new Patriot systems. How soon will this happen? Watch for all the main events of the past few days. Russia has produced its first serial Oreshnik, and it has already been delivered to the troops. This was stated by the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. Putin also says that by the end of the year, the Oreshnik will be deployed in Belarus as well, where they are already looking for a place for it. The information about the occupation of the city of Chasiv Yar is just another typical fake. This was stated by the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky.
Today there were Russian fakes about Chasiv Yar. This is Russian disinformation. Ukrainian units are defending our positions, and we repel every Russian attempt to advance in Donetsk, Sumy, and Kharkiv regions.
Zelensky also commented on the current situation at the front.
The front, especially the Pokrovsk direction, our units are holding all their positions. Pokrovsk, Dobropilya, those are the areas with the most intense fighting. It's important that our soldiers are destroying Russian sabotage and reconnaissance groups, small units that are constantly trying to break into the city and establish a foothold there. This is Russian tactics, and our response to it is the destruction of the occupier.
The armed forces of Ukraine have begun the most ambitious construction of defensive fortifications since the start of the war, according to the Wall Street Journal. According to the newspaper, the military is digging 3 anti-tank ditches, installing low-profile barriers made of barbed wire with metal coils, and setting up dragon's teeth.
The armed forces of Ukraine are carrying out engineering and fortification work along the main axis of the Russian offensive. The point is that at the moment the Russian Federation is trying to expand the theater of military operations by seizing new territories of Ukraine that are not included in the Russian Federation according to the decree of the Russian dictator. Accordingly, the issue arises of strengthening engineering and fortification structures and building new defensive lines that will prevent the occupiers from carrying out their tactical and strategic plans, creating so-called buffer zones in the Kharkiv and Sumy regions and breaking through into the territory of the Dnipropetrovsk region.
Russian occupiers have begun using rocket-powered Shaheds in their attacks on Ukraine.
The rocket-powered version of the Shahed remains vulnerable to the Ukrainian air defense system. In fact, it is even easier to intercept. This rocket-powered Shahed emits a lot of heat, which makes it an excellent target for man-portable air defense systems with infrared homing heads.
Although shooting down such a Shahed is difficult, it is possible. Moreover, this type of drone is quite expensive, and Russia will not be able to fully switch to rocket-powered Shaheds.
The cost of the engine can range from 40 to 50,000 conventional units, whereas the standard engine for the Shahed 2 is about 15 to 20,000. Therefore, there is no question of mass producing these UAVs. Apparently, the Russian Federation is conducting test strikes in order to improve the tactical and technical characteristics.
The aggressor country is allocating enormous sums of money for the production of drones. According to Defense Express, 900 companies and 7,000 workers are involved in this effort. In addition, between 2022 and 2025, the Kremlin invested about $3 billion exclusively in the development of the UAV production industry.